different points about the body, remembering that the body doesn't meditate. Sometimes we get very caught up in our body. If it feels good, we think we had a good meditation, but that's something to do with it. It's handy if the body is feeling good, but it's not the main issue. So the body, though, nevertheless plays a role, you know. But over the centuries, all the yogis have found that a certain position of the body is most conducive for good meditation. So the first thing is the legs. There's about 8 points. Always good to go through. The first thing is the legs. So the ideal scenario, especially if you're an advanced meditator who sits in your meditation day and night, like the great yogis, is to have your legs in what they call full lotus position. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama says that if you can start your session, even just for a second, in that position, it's really auspicious for you to be able to sort of create the course, you to be able to sit that way in the future, because sort of a lot makes the body very stable. I mean, these great yogis sit in meditation for days and sometimes weeks on end, and they don't ever fall over because the body is very stable when the legs are like that. So if you can have them in full lotus, the leg, you know, each instep on the other thigh, with the left one in, the right one in front. If you can, great. If not, one leg up. If not, just regular cross-legged. If not, in a chair, whatever's best for you. First point. Second, your bottom, actually, if you've got a very flexible body, most of us aren't brought up that way, then your legs, if you're sitting in cross-legged position, your legs would be very, very wide, very flexible. You'd be able to be on the ground, you know, but you've got to find a cushion that works for you. But the ideal one would be, if you've got very flexible legs, to have a cushion just propping you up under your coccyx. So it thrusts your body slightly forward, you know, but you have to work that out for yourself, what's most comfortable. If you're in a chair, what's really important is we don't slump into the back of the chair. We need to hold yourself up and have your feet firmly planted on the ground. That's important. Otherwise, if you slump the body, you just go to sleep. The subtler physical energies in the mind, which is connected to those wind energies, needs to flow smoothly throughout the body. So sitting in a chair, your feet firmly planted on the ground, body, holding up your own body. The third point is your hands. So the ideal one is we taught at the very beginning, left underneath, right on top, thumbs touching like that, forming a triangle in your lap. But you can relax, you can have them on your knees, you can do what you like. Left underneath, right on top, thumbs touching, forming a triangle. The next one is your shoulders. We tense our muscles. I don't mention this, but I'm adding it. But we tense our muscles a lot, and we tense our abdomen, don't we? We don't like looking fat, so we're squeezing our abdomen. So relax, keep your body upright, but then relax your muscles, flop your muscles. Have your body, your shoulders square, but relax the muscles. It's a really good combination. Then your head is the final one. First thing is your jaw, relaxed, lips slightly apart, tip of the tongue just resting behind the top teeth near the palate. This sounds very funny, but the yogis have found, those who meditate a lot, that you don't dribble. It stops you from dribbling. It's very practical. It stops you from having to swallow your spit all the time. Jaw relaxed, lips apart slightly, tip of the tongue behind the top teeth. Your head slightly tilted forward. If your head is thrust back, the mind gets agitated. And then your eyes, again, all the yogis who are serious meditators would have their eyes open all the time. But because their concentration is so good, they don't get distracted. But the light comes in, that keeps their mind very sharp. But if we don't have good concentration, so have your eyes lightly closed, but have your eyes underneath your eyelids, looking downwards. Looking as if you're looking along your nose towards the ground. So that's the classic position. The bottom, your legs, your hands, shoulders, head tilted forward, chin, tip of the tongue, lips, eyes. And now settle into this position and forget about it. Because like I said, the body doesn't meditate. So now we start with a bit of focusing. We're going to take refuge in the Buddha in the practice. That'll come, but we can imagine. So thinking we're going to do this practice, just so we can develop our minds, so we can become these marvelous people that we've got the potential to come, so we can benefit others. So now we'll do 5 minutes of concentration. So we're going to determine with strong determination, you're going to pay attention to the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. So you've got to focus your mind on something, otherwise we float all over the place. So that's your focal point, the sensation at your nostrils. When you breathe in and out, it's slightly different, but that's the general area of focus. So it's a really simple job to do. Whether we can accomplish it's another point, but it's a simple job. We're going to pay attention to that breath. That's it. So thoughts will come. You don't push them away. You don't wish they weren't there. You don't wonder about the thoughts. You don't wander off following the thoughts. You just keep your attention on the breath. I mean, a really good example, people often think of this meditation as kind of relaxation. It's completely mistaken. There are many relaxation techniques, but if you relax, you just go to sleep, and that's not the point. We're trying to sharpen the mind. We're trying to focus the mind. So just like you would if you're driving the car, there's no way you're gonna relax because you know how to drive, but there's got to be lots of traffic. You're on the alert, baby. You just don't space out. That's like ridiculous. So to have this, we're going to be steady, but we're going to watch that breath like a hawk. No comment, you're going to anchor your mind to it. That's the point. And allow the thought, all the traffic, you don't pay attention to every car, you go crazy. You see the cars out of the corner of your eye, but you don't pay attention. You notice what they're doing, but you don't rush over there. You let the cars do their job. You're focusing on your driving. The same here. Let the thoughts come, let the thoughts go. Let the noises come, doesn't matter. Don't wish them to go away. Don't argue with them. Just pay attention to your breath. That's it. With strong determination. For like about 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, strong determination. Watch the breath. That's fine. Okay, with that steady mind, our steady mind, just let's contemplate these 4 opponent powers. I like to think of this practice as just sort of me being my own friend, having this little conversation with myself. Think of it this way, I'm going to bring the Buddha into it, but it's we ourselves who are doing this work. We are the one who does these 4 steps. We are the one who purifies our mind. It's our mind that purifies our mind, So the first step is it's regret. We think of this, this is the basis of, this is the whole point about karma, that we create ourselves. So everything we do that's based on attachment or anger or whatever, join the universe here, it will sow seeds in our mind that will ripen as our future suffering. And thank you very much, but I don't want suffering. I'm sick of suffering. This is the basis of this first step. I am sick of suffering. That's why you go to the doctor, because you're fed up with suffering. You're fed up with the belly aches and all the problems. So we're fed up with the suffering. So I'm going to acknowledge and regret the things that I've done today, like badmouth my mother and kicked the dog or took something or whatever, simple things you've done, killed the ants. Think of things you've done today with your body and your speech. Badmouth the politicians, talked about your sister behind her back. Just little things. I mean, if we're rapists and murderers, we regret those too. They're just the simple things. And we think, this is how you think. You're talking to yourself. I did that, and I did this, and I did that, and I said this. And I'm sick of this suffering. I don't want the future results to come. And I don't want all the worry of the mind being like this. I don't like the pain of it. I'm sick of suffering. So of course I regret it. Because I don't want future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. It's like kindness to yourself. You know? So it's good to remember some of the things in this life. You know? Also, I always think of the abortion I had when I was 23. And I've done many other actions that I've completely forgotten. So you think of the actions you've done with your body and speech that have harmed others, that have left seeds in your mind. You don't remember them, but of course you regret having done them. Those seeds are multiplying. I don't want them to ripen as my suffering. I don't want to be killed, lied to, stolen from, harmed, not to mention suffering births. I'm sick of suffering. I regret, in fact, whatever I've done with my body and speech in this life that will ripen as my future suffering, that have harmed others. I'm completely regret this from the depths of my heart because I'm sick of suffering. And anything I've done since beginningless time. If you have confidence in karma, you know, whatever I've done since beginningless time, all my countless lives that have left seeds in my mind, those seeds don't go astray. So I've got to put atomic bombs under them. My broken samaya, my broken vows from past lives, which are why I have obstacles and blocks with understanding the Dharma now, blocks in relation to my teachers and my spiritual friends. I regret anything I've done that have harmed sentient beings, broken my vows, broken my commitments since beginningless time. I'm sick of suffering. I regret from the depths of my heart. So whom can I turn to? Where's my doctor? See, we've chosen Buddha as our doctor, okay? That's up to us. We've chosen the Buddha. So we visualize above our heads the form of Vajrasattva, who is the main Buddha in Tantra, but a white aspect of him. He's a white aspect of Vajradhara, Dorje-chan in Tibetan. The Buddha is the Buddha, same Buddha, but different clothing, if you like, different aspect. So, and also if we have a spiritual teacher, this makes it really personal. He's our Lama. My Lama's mind is manifesting as Vajrasattva for my benefit. For my benefit. Feel that compassion. Feel that love. That's the job of the Guru. So Vajrasattva is his bodhisattva style, radiant, blissful, light body, holding a bell in his left hand, Dorje in his right hand, crossed at his heart, sitting in full lotus on a multicolored lotus, looking beautiful, radiant in the bodhisattva style. Very compassionate. He's sitting above our crown, facing the same way as us. Radiant light, infinite compassion, infinite wisdom, infinite capacity to help. We rely upon him. His methods are what we use to help to heal ourselves. We do the work. There's the second step, reliance. There's a second part here. We're now going to rely upon sentient beings. We need compassion now. We're going to have compassion for others now. The first one's like compassion for us. Now we're going to have compassion for those we have harmed. The baby I aborted. Yes, they created the cause to be harmed, but I did the job. So we've got this karmic connection. So I regret, I have compassion for that person. Compassion for the people I've harmed, the boyfriends I've cheated on, the people I've stolen from, lied to, the creatures we've killed. Since the beginning of this time, all these sentient beings, we must purify for their sake now. First it's for our sake. Now it's for their sake. Such compassion for any of the beings we've harmed. And if we can, let's have compassion for those who've harmed us. Your parents, sometimes parents can be very bad, very brutal. Other people, partners, our children, friends, families, colleagues at work, we've all been harmed by somebody. So if we can be brave enough, put them all there and think, have such compassion for them, because they will suffer because of their actions towards me. The Bodhisattvas have more compassion for the harmers because they're going to suffer so much in the future. So if you can, include them in there. I must purify for their sake as well. So the third step, the remedy, we apply the antidote. So as Lama Zopa says, this sounds peculiar to us sometimes. It sounds like superstition. The more confidence, the more faith we have that we are purifying as we say the mantra, as we visualize, then to that extent do we purify. This sounds very weird to us. It sounds like, oh, that's just thoughts. It's just, what do you mean I have confidence I'm purifying? Well, it's our mind that purifies, nothing else. As Lama Yeshe says, you create negativity with your mind, so you purify it by creating positivity with your mind. These 4 steps are all your mind, and they're all part of the process. You have to own the actions we've done with such compassion for ourselves. Then we rely on the Buddha and have compassion for others. Now we do the purification. And all the practices, all the lamas would say that any practice we use the Buddha is a billion times more powerful because of the power of enlightened beings. So with Vajrasattva above our crown, Guru Vajrasattva, our Lama, so compassionately, only wanting to benefit, we think like that. And if, imagine from his heart, pouring forth this hose of nectar, like a very powerful hose of nectar that very forceful, that arcs around and enters your crown. And first, completely fills you, forcing out through all the lower parts of your body, all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done with our bodies since beginning this time, washing it out so forcefully. This blissful white nectar, forcing out all the junk, all the imprints of the body, disappearing into space like filthy liquid. Just imagine this. Use your creative imagination. Want this, imagine this. Because negativity is not innate. It can be removed. And the mind does it. As we recite the mantra, continue to visualize. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sutoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Mem Prayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsa Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sutoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Mem Prayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsam Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sutoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Mem Prayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsam Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabhava Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Now imagine all the imprints of all the harm we've ever done with our bodies since beginning this time disappeared into space. Not one atom left, full of this radiant nectar. How amazing. Now Lama Vajrasattva very compassionately sends from his heart, arcing around this hose of nectar that arcs around, enters our crown, and this time forces all the imprints of all that negative speech, all the gossiping and the rabbiting on about nothing, and all the lying and the harsh speech, the bad mouthing behind backs, all the nonsense coming out of our mouths, that have harmed many people and have harmed us. All of this is forced upwards and leaves through the top part of your body like filthy liquid. Just like Lama Yeshe says, when you turn on a tap in the sink, all the junk in the glass comes to the surface. Just like that. Imagine, want this, imagine this. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sudoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupara Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sudoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupadaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sudoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. All the negativity disappeared, full of this blissful nectar. So now the mind, the source of all the nonsense. This time Lama Vajrasattva sends these beams of light that arc around, enter our crown, and fill us completely instantly. That, as Lama Yeshe says, instantly you turn a light on in the room, the darkness is dispelled, isn't it? Same here. Full of this radiant light, all the delusions, the ego grasping, the attachment, all the other nonsense, gone like a dream, full of this blissful light. These are not at the core of our being. They can be removed. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sutoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sudoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala Vajrasattva Teno Patita Dido Me Bhava Sudoshayo Me Bhava Suposhayo Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayasa Sawa Karma Stutsam Me Siddham Shriyam Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajraba Mahasamaya Sattva Ahung Pe. Natalie, the mantra, okay. How's the time? Okay. So we cut a bit short. It's okay. It's okay. So it's good. We purify. We imagine all the delusions, all the imprints of our body and speech. How incredible. How amazing. Imagine, all purified. And why can they be purified? Because they're not intrinsic to us. They're not at the core of our being, because they're dependent on risings. That's why. That should give us such courage. Stuff does not define us. Our virtue defines us. Our wisdom defines us. Our Buddha nature defines us. It should make us so happy. Now, the fourth step, the most important, Bhagavan Rinpoche says, the determination to change. You know, when you decide to do something, we all know you'll do it. If you don't decide, you'll never do it. You know, you can say for 27 years, oh, I must come and... People say, you know, come for lunch, come for a meal. Yeah, I'd love to come for a meal. But until you say a date, it'll never happen. You've got to make a commitment. So here, if you've taken your vows, you reiterate your vows. I will never kill. I will never lie. I will never steal. Those vows you really can keep. And of course, we have these many different samayas, many commitments, many vows, and we've got tantric initiations. So we be very serious about them, you know, and make decisions. I'll do my best with this one. And then our old habits, as Lama Lopa says, you don't lie to yourself. So you be honest with yourself. You're talking to yourself here, you know, making decisions to yourself. I will, if you badmouth your boyfriend all the time, you make a powerful decision. For 24 hours, I will not do that. And don't be surprised that you'll keep it. For 5 minutes, I won't do it even. You be very realistic with yourself. So make some decisions. Okay. So Lama Vajrasattva is so happy, so delighted. The lotus he's sitting on dissolves up into his body, and then he very happily dissolves, into light and absorbs through your crown. And you visualize, you imagine the energy of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva, the energy of your Lama's body, speech, and mind, merge with the energy of your body, speech, and mind. They just become one. Imagine this. Just for a minute or two. Just for a minute or two, you just have no thoughts, and you visualize yourself as vast as space, crystal clear, blissful, no thoughts. That's it. Be content. Be happy with this. Just a few minutes, these thoughts. It's just thoughts. All we've just done for 35 minutes is thoughts. 30 minutes, 25 minutes, thoughts. We can decide, The negative thoughts are just a bunch of old habits, that's all. So we counteract them with the positive thoughts. That's it. That's practice. So be so delighted. And then because of the power of the Buddhas, we're using the Buddha and the power of mantra. These like extra special medicine, That's it. Be so delighted, so pleased with ourselves. Now, as Lama Yeshe says, we can go to bed with a happy mind. That's all. Good night and